All of those in favor of cutting off debate, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. The motion passes. We are now moving directly to a vote on the motion itself. The motion is that we insert, following the word certificate, upon a form provided by the secretary. All those in favor of adoption of this amendment, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Nay. The nays have it. Next, we will move to amendment number, oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. Now we're back to the main motion. I'm sorry. It's 10:15. Give me one. All right. We are now voting on the main motion. All those in...
I thought debate was still on the main motion.
We call...
Just closed debate.
Okay, yes, I've just made two mistakes because we just voted on previous question for the amendment to the amendment. So we will continue to debate the main motion. My apologies. Mr. King?
I just wanted to say one other thing. As noted, I'm from Wisconsin. This amendment has the support of my friend, the chairman of our national committee. His wholehearted support. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. King. Is there anyone else who would like to rise in opposition? In opposition.
Madam Chairman, can I ask a question?
Yes, Mr. Little.
I believe we talked about this in the Standing Committee on Rules. Let's say you had a delegation of 30 and it was signed by 10 as a plurality, and then 11 delegates from the same state would then file a petition signed by 11, which, okay, so how do you know that it's a plurality? How are we going to know that?
Well, the plurality, you simply have to have the requisite number of signatures from that state. So you have to have more than any other. So if two different petitions came in and one had 10 signatures and one had 11 signatures, the one with the 11 signatures would control. Because you do not have to have a majority, but you have to have more votes than any other entity in your delegation.
So any state could submit a petition or certificate, and it would be considered valid unless some other group with a larger plurality would then offer a second petition with more delegates.
Well, I believe if there was any question as to the validity of the plurality, that the chairman of the convention would have the opportunity to check with
is, again, step back to a moment about the broader context. So if you go, again, I'm a fan of history. If you go back to the 1970s, when many of the mechanisms that are in place today were actually created in the aftermath of the Church and the Pike Commissions, the committee in the late 1970s in the Senate, the committee said, you know, we need to create a framework that strikes that balance where we can't publicly broadly talk about the specifics of what we do, but we want there to be a level of oversight of what we do and how we do it. And we need to do it in a way that our citizens should have a measure of confidence. The mechanism that was created then was the idea of congressional oversight. Thus were born the SISI and the HIPSI. As the duly elected representatives of each and every one of us who is a US citizen in this room, we gave complete openness to those individuals. And so if you look at the aftermath of the disclosures, what did you get initially? For both those committees, on both the chair and the ranking member, in the immediate aftermath, you got, we have full knowledge and awareness of what NSA is doing. We're fully briefed into what NSA is doing. It is fully compliant with the law, and we believe it generates value for the nation. And yet collectively, what was our response? Hey, I'm not so sure I have that same level of trust. Why? I remind people, look, all this is happening in a broader context. Our belief in many of those governmental structures that we put in place is just not the same now as it was 40 years ago. Likewise, we created a court. Hey, how do we create a legal framework where for many of its actions, NSA and other elements within the intelligence world have to go to an independent entity in the form of a judge and make a case on a legal basis for why they should be allowed to do what they're doing? Let's use a judge, let's create a court. Thus was born the FISA court. 40 years later, though, you have people asking, okay, got it, court, but look at the way you structured it. It hears the government's argument. It doesn't have an adversarial viewpoint, for example. 40 years ago, we thought that was a perfect construct. Now we find ourselves in a different environment with a different view of the world around us, and we say to ourselves, well, maybe I'm not so sure about that. So I only highlight that to people to say, step back, remember the context when all this is happening. The very mechanisms that we put in place to engender that trust now, in many ways, have very different view from the citizens that they're supposed to generate that for. They just look at the mechanisms differently and say, well, I'm not so sure I get that same level. So one of the things I think that we're going to be working our way through is, what is the appropriate mechanism to provide that oversight and that level of trust? And again, that's something that broadly as citizens, you need to be comfortable with. I shouldn't be determining that.
Thank you, Admiral. We're going to be like best friends after this, right? All these tough questions.
Could you ask me a question about Cyber Command at one point in this dialogue?
I'll get to it. Sticking with one, as a president's prerogative, I'm going to ask a little bit of a local question. Let's talk about the NSA's Utah data center, which has become, in many ways, a symbol of the agency's larger reach to our digital world. This is a very large facility, for some of you who don't know, in the Salt Lake City suburb. But is it fully operational? Have you experienced any problems in getting up online? And with the growth of data needs, how quickly we have to expand it or look for other locations?
So the Utah Data Center is one of several data centers that we have constructed that are designed to enable us. So how do you deal with this digital age where increasingly data sizes are growing? And so we consciously step back, and this was a decision about 10 years ago. We need to create a framework that's going to enable us to safely store, secure, and access that data. And so the facility in Utah is one of those, where we've tried to take all that we've learned about how do you secure data, how do you control it, how do you put it in an environment where it stays safe, where it's in the right climate. I mean, you put a lot of servers together, simple things you don't probably care about, but heat generated. If you design data centers for the digital age of today, vice the past, I never thought I'd get into studies of how you provide cooling and electricity. And yet, you know, we've done that, we've tried to do that. In fact, one of the reasons for the location in Utah, quite frankly, was some of the power aspects. The facilities in place I've been out there once in my time as the director. We're in the midst of fully outfitting it right now.
How quickly will you need to expand or have other data centers?
Boy, I don't know. The only thing I can think of is full motion video and ISR, airborne intelligence surveillance and requirements. You look at what we've done in the course of the war, the wars of the last decade, 15 years. We are operating with a level of airborne ISR today that 15 years ago we never ever thought, envisioned. And at the time we said to ourselves, boy, you're never going to need anywhere near this. And yet now we say to ourselves, wow, the future has changed in ways we didn't anticipate. So I'm comfortable with capacity for right now. It's something we continue to watch. And if we feel we need more capacity, we'll go to the Congress, to the department, and we'll request it.
Let's talk about cyber for a second. Do you see cyber as a first strike weapon that could incapacitate the United States?
And you are the Attorney General. And I think you're sending a terrible message to the world.
Applications in cyber, both defensive and offensively for us as a nation. And what are we going to be comfortable with? We've got to try to change the current dynamic. Now, we're all victims of the culture that spawned us. So I am a military guy, so that's the culture that I'm from. That culture teaches me you want to get ahead of problem sets. You want to shape adversaries' actions, choices, and behaviors. You want to drive adversaries to behaviors and choices that facilitate advantage for you if possible, not for them. And yet, in some ways, in the cyber arena, as we're trying to work our way through those questions, day to day, you feel like, well, we're just responding.
look good untucked. So this became my passion, to design a shirt that captures the perfect balance between length and fit. Easy to say, not that easy to do. But with some innovative design changes, we did it. Our problem, my solution. Untuckit.com.
I don't want to lie down. I refuse to lie down.
Why suffer? Stand up to chronic migraine with Botox. Botox is the only treatment for chronic migraine shown to actually prevent headaches and migraines before they even start. Botox is for adults with chronic migraine, 15 or more headache days a month, each lasting 4 hours or more. It's injected by a doctor once every 12 weeks and is covered by most insurance.
Effects of Botox may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away, as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness can be signs of a life-threatening condition. Side effects may include allergic reactions, neck and injection site pain, fatigue, and headache. Don't take Botox if there's a skin infection. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions, and medications including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects.
Don't take your chronic migraine lying down. Stand up.
Prevent headaches and migraines. Talk to a headache specialist today.
And this is a Fox News alert. A horrific attack in southern France. The country's president is in fact calling this a terrorist attack. At least 80 now are dead, 50 are wounded after a truck plowed through a crowd during, of course, a celebration in France. Now, joining us, we continue with Newt Gingrich. Mr. Speaker, Donald Trump, we believe you were down to the final two candidates. He was expected to announce tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. who his selection was for vice president. There was widespread speculation, the LA Times, Daily News, CNBC, the Tribune, the Guardian, the New York Times, Indianapolis Star, that in fact it was Mike Pence. I'm not sure, you don't have to answer this if you don't want. Have you heard from the campaign?
Oh, I haven't talked to the campaign all day today, but let me say one more thing about Nice, if you don't mind. I fully expect by tomorrow morning that President Obama will have rediscovered his left-wing roots and will give a press conference in which he will explain that the problem is too many trucks.
Trucks?
But if only we had truck regulation, then we wouldn't have problems like Nice, because it is trucks that are dangerous. I mean, that's the exact analog to Orlando, and just tells you how nuts the left wing in America is. I have been talking with the campaign all day today. I think that probably Donald Trump did the right thing in postponing everything tomorrow, because this is such a horrendous event in France that we ought to focus on the historic nature of this. I hope he will give a very significant statement tomorrow on what's happened in France and lay out the kind of changes we need. I think that's the right thing to do. And I'm sure at some point, either tomorrow or Monday, he will announce the vice presidential candidate. And at least at the moment, it certainly looks like it's going to be my good friend, Governor Mike Pence. We're very close colleagues. Mike and I go back many, many years. And I'm looking forward to, if I'm not the vice presidential nominee, I'm going to go all out for the ticket.
So you have not officially been told, is what how I'm interpreting that. I've not officially been told. Let me ask you this. I actually heard Mike Pence once describe himself as a Reagan, Kemp, and Gingrich Republican. Your reaction?
That's part of why I love the guy. I mean, look, I called him today and we chatted for a while about how we're going to help each other, whatever comes out of this, because we're both committed to victory over Hillary Clinton. We're both committed to helping Donald Trump be successful. And he pointed out to me that back when he was running for the state legislature, way back in 1988, he had a whole bunch of GoPack training tapes I had done sitting on the floor of his car, and he'd put them in his back then they were cassette recorders.
By the way, I listened to those too. And for just historical purposes, between that and the Renewing American Civilization tapes, I looked at all of those.
Well, so it's pretty hard to not feel very close to a guy who can tell you that something like, 28 years ago, he was already in there trying to learn and study. We certainly have had a great relationship. He's been a very good governor of Indiana. And I think he'd be very comfortable supporting me. I'm comfortable supporting him.
Look, I've been very vocal that because I've known you since 1990, that I would like you to be the choice, and I know the decision has not been made in spite of a lot of media reports. But I want to ask you this question: would it be fair to say that regardless of who is chosen, whether it's Mike Pence, Governor Pence, or yourself, that you will still prosecute the case against Hillary, especially on issues as important as the evil that we see unfolding in France tonight, that you would help the campaign, that anytime you were needed or in some other capacity, you're on board helping Donald Trump any way you can? Is that a fair statement?
Look, as an American citizen who comes out of a background where my dad spent 27 years in the infantry, the idea of Hillary Clinton as the most corrupt person ever to be elected to president, the most dishonest person ever to be elected president, the most destructive of national security standards ever to be elected president, the idea of her winning motivates me every morning to help Donald Trump in every way I can, because I think she would represent a disastrous future for America. And I think we need to understand and be prepared to win the argument over that case. In addition, as you were pointing out earlier, Hillary Clinton represents the State Department and the Obama administration and the total failure to confront the evil that we're now dealing with in ISIS and in Al-Qaeda and in the various forms of Islamic supremacism.
I would argue that through the prism of history, we will look back on the Obama-Hillary Clinton era as the era of radical Islamic appeasement. I think it'll go down in history as that profound. Mr. Speaker, I know we took a lot of your time tonight. Thank you so much for being with us. We appreciate it.
Good to be with you.
And coming up, we'll have more on the attack in Nice in France. We'll get reaction from Donald Trump Jr. as we continue from Cleveland, Ohio. It's Hannity on the road at the RNC convention.
Take on any road with intuitive all-wheel drive. The Nissan Rogue, Murano, and Pathfinder. Now get 0% APR for up to 72 months plus $500 bonus cash.
See me.
See me.
Don't stare at me.
See me.
See me.
See me to know that psoriasis is just something that I have
And not contagious.
See me to know that I won't stop until I find what works.
Discover Cosentix, a different kind of medicine for moderate to severe plaque psoriasis, proven to help the majority of people find clear or almost clear skin. 8 out of 10 people saw 75% skin clearance at 3 months, while the majority saw 90% clearance. Do not use if you are allergic to Cosentix. Before starting, you should be tested for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you have received a vaccine or plan to. If you have inflammatory bowel disease, tell your doctor if symptoms develop or worsen. Serious allergic reactions may occur.
See me.
See me. See me on my way.
Find clear skin and a clearer path forward. For a different kind of medicine, ask your dermatologist about Cosentix.
You owned your car for 4 years. You named it Brad. You loved Brad. And then you totaled him. You two had been through everything together. 2 boyfriends, 3 jobs. You're like, nothing can replace Brad. Then Liberty Mutual calls. And you break into your happy dance.
If you sign up for Better Car Replacement, we'll pay for a car that's a model year newer with 15,000 fewer miles than your old one. Liberty stands with you. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Are you happy with your bathroom? I wasn't. I thought I didn't have the money until I learned about Bath Fitter. Bath Fitter puts a new bathtub right over your old one. Isn't that amazing? Bath Fitter will measure, make, and install right over your existing tub. And only Bath Fitter has seamless walls, which guarantees a watertight fit. Plus, they do it all in just 1 day. That's my favorite part. Book a free consultation and find out for yourself. Call today or learn more at bathfitter.com.
Would you like to win the Publishers Clearinghouse $5,000 a week forever prize? $5,000 a week for your life. Then after that, someone you choose gets $5,000 a week for their life. Enter at PCH.com on August 31st. Win forever.
Clean food. Words Panera lives by. No artificial flavors, preservatives, sweeteners, no colors from artificial sources. 100% of our food will be clean by year's end. That's food as it should be.
Zero Water and Brita are not equal, especially when it comes to reducing lead in your water. Zero Water's 5-stage filter is the only one certified by the NSF to reduce lead. Lead that conventional 2-stage filters may leave behind. So if you want the purest tasting water and the water filter that's proven to reduce lead, look for Zero Water. Get more out of your water.
Vistaprint always has great prices, but a sale this big only happens twice, as in 2 times, as in now, and once more, but that's many, many months from now. The Vistaprint semi-annual sale. Really big discounts, up to 50% off, as in half price, as in huge savings across the site, on stuff that gets you more customers, as in banners, as in postcards, as in t-shirts. Oh, and of course, business cards. Hurry to Vistaprint.com and enter promo code SAVEBIG, as in save big on all the items I just mentioned, which I won't repeat because it's all on Vistaprint.com, which you should go to right now. The Vistaprint semi-annual sale ends July 19th.
You do what it takes to be healthy, but can your multivitamin do more for your immune health? Now, One-A-Day has the first multivitamin with probiotics to support the 70% of your immune system that's found in your digestive tract. New One-A-Day with probiotics. Your multi with more.
Introducing Ring, the world's most advanced doorbell.
I have delivery for you.
You can leave it at the door. Thanks. Ring streams HD video and audio to smartphones and tablets. Available at ring.com and these fine retailers.
Is it a force of nature or a sales event? The Summer of Audi sales event is here. Get up to a $5,000 bonus on select Audi models.
And this is a Fox News alert. A massacre in France. At least 80 are dead, 50 injured, including, by the way, children and women. And, of course, this after a truck mowed down people during a celebration. And joining us now is Donald J. Trump Jr. That's Donald Trump's senior son, of course. Don, good to see you. I look at this latest example of evil in our time, and I think about what this campaign is all about. And I think about your father and talking about securing the borders, and your father talking about refugees, and your father talking about vetting people coming into the country, and your father identifying radical Islamic terrorism. Does this really highlight the biggest national security debate we're going to have in this presidential election? Another attack again?
Well, good to be with you, Sean, and I think it does. I mean, the fact that we're seeing this, we're almost getting numb to it. I turn it on, I hear about a major terrorist attack, I say, oh, okay, it happened again. You know, it's disgusting, and it's time we do something about it. This sort of culture of appeasement that we've grown so used to, and, you know, our government is just perpetuating, it just doesn't work. And we're going to have to do something about it, or it's going to keep happening. It's going to happen here, it's going to happen in Europe, and it's certainly going to happen in Europe, given what's going on over there right now, what's going on over there over the last few months. And we can't let that happen here, and we have to help them figure out their problem, too, because theirs is worse than ours, but ours is going to get there.
You know, it really does highlight one of the big issues that I know your dad comes under fire sometimes, but I agree with him on the issue of refugees. If somebody is coming from a country where they grew up and what they understood as Sharia law, men telling women how to dress, men telling women they can't drive a car, men telling women they can't go to school, persecution of gays and Christians and Jews, I think we owe it to the American people to vet those people properly. Hillary Clinton wants a 550% increase in the numbers of refugees that Barack Obama is bringing in. What's your response?
Well, listen, A, it's crazy. B, on one of the other more liberal networks, somehow my remote got broken, and I was watching one of those a little bit earlier tonight before you were on,
Yeah.
Sean. And, you know, I don't know how it happened. I mean, every once in a while it happens, but you got to see what the other side is saying anyway.
I forgive you.
And
Don't
even
worry.
they were saying, you know, you got to give me a little bit, right? But even they were saying, hey, there's no reasonable way, and this is right after speaking with Hillary Clinton. They're saying there's no reasonable way to actually vet these people. Now, we have no problem with immigration, but you have to know what you're bringing into your country. You can't, it's not a gambling ring. I mean, this is not a thing we say, hey, let's take a chance. Let's see what happens. I mean, it's very clear. These organizations have made it clear they're going to try to use immigration as a Trojan horse to get their combatants into our country. And this is a war, Sean. We can't be stupid. If we had a way to actually vet these guys, it may change it. But we don't. Our own people say we don't. And even if we did have a way to vet it, even if they went through the most strenuous process, it would take years to actually figure it out. I mean, I could probably go to Syria right now. I could walk into an office and for $20 get a passport telling me that I'm, you know, Moses. It's ridiculous. And the fact that we're not acknowledging that it's ridiculous and that anyone could probably pull off everything and that there's no law and order in these places, we must be insane, Sean.
You know, I think we should be learning the lessons of Europe with the Islamization of Europe and the refugee crisis in Europe. You know, we see these attacks again in Paris and in Belgium and in Orlando and in Chattanooga and in San Bernardino. And, you know, as Newt said tonight, Sharia is incompatible with Western civilization. Couple that with borders that are insecure, it is at the forefront of this election. Your father was supposed to, and I actually think he made the right decision in light of what happened tonight and today. He was going to make his announcement for vice president. Newt Gingrich was on tonight and said he has not been notified by the campaign. He said he thinks that the reports may be true, that it probably might be Mike Pence, and he would support him fully, but he would serve if your father asked. When would your father then likely make the announcement? I would assume he'd want to make it before the convention, considering the media goes into their frenzy every time a vice presidential nominee is named.
Yeah. Well, listen, he hasn't made his announcement. I do think it's appropriate to put it off from tomorrow. You know, I would imagine it'll be over the weekend, but we'll see. I think we'll get together as a family again and discuss. You know, the good thing is we have a couple great guys to choose from. I've gotten to know them. Some of them I've known for a long time, especially if you include Chris Christie in there. You know, all great guys, all very different characters. And it's nice to be able to say that, you know, we have this very eclectic group of guys, all of which have great experience, all of which would be happy to do it, and all of which, either way we go, are going to be involved in the administration going forward. Because, I mean, for us, there's so much we can learn from those guys. All incredibly talented guys, all incredibly brilliant, and I'm excited to get to know them.
I've got to run. It is amazing how your dad was willing to step out on a limb and really has predicted the narrative that would guide this election. And we're going to be talking in the days, weeks, and months ahead. Don Jr., thank you so much.
Great to be with you, Sean. Thanks.
And coming up, we'll continue to monitor all the breaking news out of Nice in France. Our panel will weigh in next. We'll check in with Sheriff Clark, Bo Dietl, and Geraldo straight ahead.
Discover how a Lexus Master Craftsman turns an ordinary experience into an extraordinary one. Get great offers at the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Lease the 2016 ES350 for $329 a month for 36 months, and we'll make your first month's payment. See your Lexus dealer.
This just got interesting. Why pause to take a pill? Or stop to find a bathroom? Cialis for daily use is approved to treat both erectile dysfunction and the urinary symptoms of BPH, like needing to go frequently, day or night. Tell your doctor about all your medical conditions and medicines and ask if your heart is healthy enough for sex. Do not take Cialis if you take nitrates for chest pain or Adeptus for pulmonary hypertension, as it may cause an unsafe drop in blood pressure. Do not drink alcohol in excess. Side effects may include headache, upset stomach, delayed backache, or muscle ache. To avoid long-term injury, get medical help right away for an erection lasting more than 4 hours. If you have any sudden decrease or loss in hearing or vision, or any symptoms of an allergic reaction, stop taking Cialis and get medical help right away. Ask your doctor about Cialis and a $200 savings card.
Honey, did you call the insurance company?
Not yet. I'm folding laundry. Can you?
No, cleaning the windows.
The living room's a disaster.
Evil, medieval barbarians, Bo Dietl, and it happened yet again.
Sean, this afternoon, before this happened, I sent you some links from Paris. Cops getting shot, riots in the street with these refugees, and what's happening in Germany, 1,200 people, females getting raped. London, rioting all over the place, but for some reason, our news media keeps that from the United States. They don't want to show what this refugee influx does and what it's going to do to the United States of America. The news media is covering this up. They should be broadcasting that night what's going on in Paris, London, and Hamburg, and all the European countries, because it's